Hi all, welcome to lesson 2 of pneumatics. I just want to talk you through this lesson very quickly, just so that I know that you're understanding what this lesson entails, but also so that so that I'm aware that you have a good understanding of pneumatics so far to this point. So what you will be learning in lesson 2 is about pneumatic circuits. You've already met the single acting cylinder and the 3-2 valve. But what I want to do is just talk you through how the 3-2 valve, how it operates and leads to the single acting cylinder. There is one video in this lesson that you'll be watching, and there's an exercise at the end of the lesson as well where you make your own circuits. So what you must be able to do is understand and discuss the different type of actuators, and you should be able to discuss the safety requirements around pneumatic circuits, which you learned in the last lesson, and you could begin to draw out pneumatic circuits. And that is the plan for this lesson. An actuator is basically, actuator is a fancy word for how something operates. And there are many different ways that you can operate a 3-2 valve. The most common way is by pushing a button. And by pressing the button, the valve changes to the actuated state, turns on, and allows the main air to flow through to the other components through port 1, which is this port, as you know from the last lesson. If you release the button, a single spring returns the valve to its off state. The symbol for a push button, spring return 3-2 valve, is shown on the right here. So this is the button, the push button here, and that is the spring there. And that's just push the button down, and the spring does its thing, and then when you release it, it pushes it back. It pushes the button back as a spring would do. So this here is just the diagram that engineers use in pneumatics for the 3-2 valve and the different actuators. And to the right, down the bottom here, are a list of the most common types of actuators, and they're always drawn onto the standard symbol for the 3-2 valve. It could be at the top or the bottom, depending on the type of circuits that you are using. So have a look through these different actuators. There's the push button, which you're aware of, as you can see here. You have levers, pulling levers, foot pedals, which is very similar. Notice the difference. You could have springs, you can have rollers, roller trips, where a single valve comes out, hits the roller, and as it's released, the roller trip then turns off again. There's lots of different things. You will be introduced to these over the next few lessons, and you will see them in practice on videos as to how they actually work, or you have already seen them in previous videos. And they will all come up in the next few lessons. What I want you to do is have a look at the video on the next slide. It basically explains the push-pull valve in a 3-2 valve, okay, which is the push button here. Watch the video just now, and then I'll continue in just a second. So by now you should have watched the video and will have a better understanding of port 1. When the button's pushed, the air can flow through into port 2 and into the single acting valve, and then as that button is released, the air can flow back through into port 3. The direction of this arrow shows the state of the 3-2 valve, and currently this valve is allowing the air to flow from port 2 into port 3 and out of the 3-2 valve through the exhaust. So what I want you to now do, if I can get onto the next slide, there we go. I want you to use the Google slide titled Exercises and draw the correct symbols for the following. And I have put down a 3-2 valve with a push button and a spring return. I'll give you a big clue. It may have been on the previous slide. Number 2, 3-2 valve, roller actuated with spring return. Okay, so what this is meaning, this is the first thing mentioned. So push button, roller actuated, foot pedal actuated. That will be this one here. The spring return, plunger return is down the bottom here. Okay. And you are to take that exercise sheet and you are to, if I can find it, you're to then just draw in the symbols on this here. So for each question, question 2, question 3, question 4, question 5, you're to draw them in. And you can draw them in using the symbols here that you can see. So if you're to draw a push button, you can just come to a rectangle, shapes, draw a rectangle on the top, and you can then also add in anything else that may be needed on that symbol. So you can look for any other shapes, semicircle. If there's a semicircle, you can take that and you can draw that in. Okay, don't want to give you the answer, but you can edit this as you please. Fill, do whatever. You can have it black, you can have it white, whatever you want to do, no fill. That is how you carry out this lesson. Okay, any questions, please get back to me, let me know. The purpose of this is just so that you become accustomed and used to the different types of actuators used in pneumatic circuits. Hope you're all well. Speak to you soon.